Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Cameron has a statement in response to the new federal charges on four Louisville police officers. Daniel Cameron is a piece of scum. He chose to look out for the best interests of dirty cops instead of the death of Breonna Taylor. He didn't even try to defend her. And as a DA, that's exactly what he was supposed to do. And he did not do it. This man is garbage as far as I'm concerned. So he got the nerve to respond to the new charges with a statement. So let's go over this statement. Today, President Biden's Department of Justice brought federal civil rights charges against four individuals in connection with the death of Miss Breonna Taylor. As in every prosecution, our office supports the impartial administration of justice, but it is important that people not conflate what happened today with the state law investigation undertaken by our office. You didn't do no investigation. The only thing you did, Daniel Cameron, was cover up that shooting, and you only recognized the neighbor's apartment above Breonna Taylor. Nobody lost their life in that apartment. Just some bullets went into the wall. Breonna Taylor lost her life, and you wouldn't even bring her up to the grand jury. Wow. Our primary task was to investigate whether the officers who executed the search warrant were criminally responsible for Miss Taylor's death under state law. At the conclusion of our investigation, our prosecutors submitted the information to the state grand jury, which ultimately resulted in criminal charges brought against Brett Hankinson for wanton endangerment. And even that didn't stick. This man is pathetic. I'm proud of the work our investigators and prosecutors what they did. And this case and the loss of Miss Taylor's life have generated national attention. People across the country have grieved, and there isn't a person I've spoken to across our 120 counties that isn't saddened by her loss. Oh, people are more than saddened, Daniel Cameron. People are livid that you have handled this case the way that you did, with no concern for Breonna Taylor, her family, nobody. There are those, however, who want to use this moment to divide Kentuckians, misrepresent the facts of the state investigation, and broadly um, create a character of our law enforcement community. We don't have to create anything. What they do speak for itself. When they kill us, what you call the black community, they kill us with a barrage of bullets. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, or child, they kill you in a barrage of bullets. Okay? We don't have to mischaracterize that. It speaks for itself. Oh boy. And if divisions are caused, those divisions didn't come from us. It didn't come from us. Cameron and his team led the initial investigation into Breonna Taylor's case. He presented their findings to a grand jury back in 2020, and ultimately only Brett Hankinson was indicted, but not in connection to Taylor's death. If you remember, because even people on the grand jury spoke out, he never presented Breonna Taylor at all to the grand jury. He only presented the neighbor's apartment above hers that got riddled with some bullets. And he's still lying and trying to act like this was presented to the grand jury. And we all know it never was. Even people on that grand jury spoke out publicly and said he never mentioned Breonna Taylor to the grand jury at all. So they had no opportunity to come up with any verdict at all. And then Daniel Cameron tried to put it on them for the reason why Breonna Taylor did not get any justice. I mean, this man is just, he's despicable. He doesn't deserve to be attorney general. He doesn't deserve to be a governor, because I know he's running for governor right now, y'all. The audacity of this man, for real. He needs to go somewhere and sit down. So instead, he was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment for shots that went into the neighboring unit. Yeah, he was found for those things because you never said nothing about Breonna Taylor. Her life didn't then, and as you can see from his statement, Breonna Taylor's life still don't mean nothing to him. Just looking at the statement can tell you that. So let's go on. According to a background document from Cameron's office, there were only they were only investigating whether the 3 officers who fired shots that night, which would include John Mattingly and Miles Cosgrove, violated any laws that night. Yes, they did, and including the warrant. They lied and falsified information in order to even get the warrant. So if the warrant was not really a valid one, then anything you did that night would not be legal. All right. So they did not consider claims of civil negligence by the officers, Breonna Taylor or her boyfriend who fired his gun that night, Kenneth Walker, the narcotics investigation against Jamarcus Glover, or the obtaining of the search warrant. Now, remember, her ex boyfriend, Jamarcus Glover, they didn't find one single drug on him or in his apartment, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? The media in this country won't mention that. They won't mention how these cops, when they finally got around to Jamarcus Glover, they didn't find nary drug on him or in his apartment. So there was no drugs in Breonna Taylor's apartment, and there were no drugs in the location that Jamarcus Glover lived in. They didn't find nary drug anywhere. Okay. The judge did rule that the grand jurors could speak publicly about the proceedings, which are typically secret. And some said they were only presented with possible charges for Hankinson, not the 2 other officers. See, this is all Daniel Cameron's doing. And as far as I'm concerned, he is equally as guilty as those police officers. Taylor's family and Attorney General, um, I'm sorry, Taylor's family and attorneys have said that they didn't feel Cameron went far enough with his investigation. He did that intentionally. He did not want to investigate those police officers. He did just what he wanted to do, get them out of everything. That's what he did. Earlier this year, Hankinson was found not guilty by a jury on all charges. So, what was the purpose? You charged him on 3 counts on wanton endangerment, and he had all three found not guilty by a grand jury. Not guilty. I mean, so, but again, this is all Daniel Cameron having his hands in everything. Now, more than 2 years later, Hankinson is among 4 officers being charged federally for civil rights violations connected to Taylor's home. And y'all, this should have happened 2 years ago. This should have happened 2 years ago. And yes, I agree with all of you that say this is only because of the midterms. And the Democrats know they're doing real lousy among Black voters. They know this already. So, this again is not your reparations. It's not them trying to make things better. They're not trying to pass that crime bill. And see, Breonna Taylor's case is a good reason why there should be a crime bill. So the other officers charged are Joshua James, Sergeant Kyle Meany, and Kelly Goodlett. Hankinson's charges stem from the shots he fired that night into Taylor's home. The Department of Justice charged the other 3 for their part in the warrant, which they said ultimately led to Taylor's death because it created a dangerous situation. Mm, mm, mm. Of course, it created a dangerous situation. You know, these cops in America, they don't care about nobody but themselves. When they come on the scene, they are thinking about themselves. When they kill people, they are thinking about themselves. And then you got a media that aids and abets them by always, whenever it's a shooting of a Black man, woman, or child, they are on TV in full force the next day trying to get the cop out of everything. They're all guilty. All of them are. So I'm glad there is movement on the case, but this should satisfy no one for the simple fact that you got Daniel Cameron. As far as I'm concerned, he obstructed justice from happening for Breonna Taylor. And the Justice Department should never have left him out of this whole thing. If you were going to go after the cops for violating the civil rights of Breonna Taylor, Daniel Cameron did it too. Yes, he did. But y'all, please tell me what you think about Daniel Cameron trying to cover his behind, trying to do a CYA move after the Department of Justice filed or going after these 4 cops federally. And he don't like it. He don't like it. Well, that's just too bad. That's too bad, Daniel Cameron. Oh boy, what a mess. But I'm glad for Breonna Taylor's family because they were hoping for some kind of movement on this, and they tried in every kind of way to communicate with Daniel Cameron to no avail. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.